Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget.
You kids don't forget.
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 Kids don't forget. Kids don't forget.
Keenan, what's up? How are you?
Coolin', bro. How you been?
Man, I'm happy that you're here. Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. So let's get started. Did I say your name correctly?
Yes.
Has your name ever been mispronounced?
No.
Nah.
Misspelled, but not mispronounced.
How is it spelled?
Keenan.
How's it been misspelled?
Kenan, Kenin.
But for the most part, it's been pronounced correctly.
Yes.
So that wasn't something that plagued you growing up?
No, not at all.
Okay. What were some of your nicknames growing up?
K-Dog, Keen Bean, and later on, Kenobi and Skrilla.
All right, so let's start with K-Dog. Who called you K-Dog?
Family and friends from around my neighborhood.
Okay. And who called you Keen Bean?
Same
thing?
Same.
Okay.
Keen Bean was more close-knit family.
Okay.
Than family and friends. But once I got like kind of older, like I want to say like around 11, 12, that's when Keen Bean turned into K-Dog.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I guess you could say Snoop Dogg era.
Got it. So if you were like in Milwaukee, Wisconsin right now, where you don't know anybody, well, I don't know who you know, but let's assume you don't know anybody from Milwaukee and you're in Milwaukee, you heard somebody say, yo, K-Dog.
I'm definitely going to turn like, woo, somebody definitely knows me.
And you got an idea where they know you from and
Guaranteed.
who it is. Okay.
Guaranteed.
Got it. And the last one you said was Skrilla?
Skrilla.
Okay, where'd you get that?
My cousin gave one of my main favorite cousins.
Okay.
Closest cousins.
Got it.
Gave me that name.
You want to give him a shout out?
Poppy.
Shout out to Poppy. So where are you from?
I'm from downtown Camden, New Jersey.
Downtown Camden, New Jersey. Okay. And do you claim a specific block?
Bering Street.
Okay. What was your neighborhood like growing up?
It changed. It as far as I can remember, when I was smaller, younger, there were a lot more businesses, and it was a close-knit community type block. And then as I got older, it got a lot bit more worse.
Okay.
As far as like drug trafficking, prostitution, shootings, stuff like that.
Okay. Would you raise your kids on Bering Street?
I would raise my kids in the era that I was raised. Yes, I'll raise them. In this era, no.
Okay, what's the difference? Oh, what you just said.
Right.
That's the
difference. And it's changed dramatically more worse than it was back then when it was bad.
Okay.
It's even worse now. It's actually like Bering Street is basically like a ghost of its former self.
It's probably people who lived there 20 years before you did who's like, yo, Bering Street got bad. Which was normal bad to you, but now it's even the next level.
Right. Absolutely.
Got it. So Camden, period. Like for you growing up, what was your experience like?
Like I said, it's the same as growing up in Bering. It was good growing up, and then it progressively got worse.
Okay. Did you have a lot of problems?
No, not per se. Not a lot of problems, no.
Okay, that's interesting. So with that being said, were you an only child?
For at least the first 6 years, yes.
Okay.
And then my mother had my little sister.
Okay.
And then after that, it came my two younger brothers, and they are a year apart. And then I have another younger sister. She's about maybe 23 now, 22, 23 now. And then when I was 20, my father had 3 boys.
Okay. Wow. So you have siblings, but you really didn't grow up with anybody.
Cousins.
Right.
Cousins for the first, I guess you could say 6 to 7 years. Actually, even more than that because my sister was a baby.
Right.
So my siblings at that time was my cousins.
Okay. What was that like growing up?
It was cool. It was kind of hard though because you still didn't have that brother, that sibling,
Right.
brother or sister. You just didn't have that sibling to be home with you or play with. So it always basically depends. Your playing partners were my cousins or the kids that lived on the block.
Okay. Interesting. So with that being said, you did not grow up with both parents.
No.
Okay. So did you live with your mom or your dad?
For the first 12 to 13 years, I lived with my mother.
Okay.
The end of the 12 to 13 years, I was transitioning between the two of them. And then once I became 13, I moved with my father and lived with my father since then.
What was the difference in between living with your mom and living with your dad?
My mom was very lax, and I was her baby. I was her firstborn, so she always says I grew up with her.
Right.
Whereas my father was very strict.
Okay.
He was very strict.
Okay. So you went from two different worlds.
Yeah.
From living with your mom to. Do you remember how that happened? How'd you get to living with your dad?
Well, when I was about 12 or 13, maybe it might even be as early as 11.
Okay.
My mother got on drugs, and
Sorry to hear that.
it got kind of bad. So my father felt as though he had to get me out of that environment.
Now, was this the height of the crack epidemic?
I guess you could say that 93, 94. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
About the-
Right.
about the
Started
height
in
of
like the mid '80s and ravaged on through the '90s.
it. Right.
Okay. So, with that being said, what was your relationship like with each of them? So you can start with either your mom or your dad. What would you say growing up that your relationship was like?
My relationship with my mom was like my mom. Even to this day, my mom is my best friend.
What's her name?
Patricia
Shout
Williams.
out to Miss Patricia.
Miss Patty, actually.
Oh, Miss Patty. So I would
That's
say
what
Miss
she
Patty.
called.
Okay, Miss Patty. Okay.
But she was she's my best friend now, and even back then, she was my end all be all.
Okay.
Anything, she was my world, my son, everything.
So if you left her to go live with your dad, that must have shot you for a loop.
Oh yeah, I was definitely hurt, upset,
Okay.
just everything. Cause no matter, even though she was on drugs,
Right.
I saw that, but that didn't matter to me because she was still my mom, and I felt as though it was my job, even though I was the child. I felt it was my job to make sure my mom was good.
Okay.
So I did not like having to move with my father.
Yo, I've interviewed a lot of people now who are like, yo, if I would have left my dad, he might have self-destructed, like left him by myself. Or I felt like I had to be the perfect child because my mom's other kids were wilding. So I needed to be the one to make sure she doesn't lose it. It's crazy how, and a lot of times, and some people I've interviewed said, I was the parent. I literally was the parent. My parents were kids.
Right?
So, like, it's interesting to hear, like, looking back, adults say, like, I had to protect my parent.
Right.
And it's crazy because parents are people.
Yeah.
And they wind up having kids while they're still dealing with their stuff.
And growing and learning.
They're growing and learning. They're dealing with their inner demons. And in a lot of cases, they're still dealing with their childhoods.
Yeah.
So we got a generation of kids having kids, and we have a generation of adults having kids who are not quite figured out who they are or adulthood yet.
Yeah.
Yo, so that's interesting.
That's the main reason my mom told me that, like, it messes her up to this day if I remember like a song that's from her childhood, but
Okay.
I only remember it because, Mom, you played it
Right.
like 1,000 times in the house.
Right.
So I automatically just associate that with you. So I know that's like,
Right.
it could be something like Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
And I hear, and she, what do you know about that? Mom, I learned it from you. What do you mean? Like,
right. Now, what was your relationship like with your pops? What's your pops' name?
Chris Britt.
Shout out to Mr. Chris.
Yeah, he's my relationship with him was we butted heads a lot.
Okay.
We really butted heads a lot. I think mainly because he just wanted better for me, and I don't know. I just thought that he was mainly into his wife,
Okay.
and not that he didn't care about me. I knew he loved me unconditionally,
Right.
but I just he was just a little too strict for me.
Okay.
And I guess that was me being a kid, because
Right.
looking back now, I am so thankful for him being that strict on me, because without his guidance and him being that strict, ain't no telling what I could have been or become or where I would have been.
Okay. Okay. So real quick, do you remember how it happened that you wound up living with your dad?
Yes.
Okay.
He and two of my mother's friends, they orchestrated.
They were in cahoots?
Yeah, they was in cahoots. They orchestrated this plan to get me out of my mom's house. I went over one of my mom's friend's house to spend the weekend, and the next morning, or the next night actually, because I remember they went to Temple. Remember Temple on Mount Ephraim?
Okay. The pizza store?
The pizza store. They went to Temple, got me a fish hoagie. That was one of my favorite sandwiches growing up.
Okay.
And he actually put me on to that sandwich. But they went to Temple, got me a fish sandwich. We came back. My dad was at my mom's friend's house. And he
Wait. So this is two of your mom's girlfriends.
Two of my mom's
They came
best
to
friends.
pick you up.
Yes.
When y'all say they took you out to get you something to eat.
They took me to spend the night over their house because they had kids that were around
So
my
the premise
age.
was that you was going to stay there for the weekend.
Right.
You get there and your pops is there.
Right.
Which was unusual or usual?
Very unusual.
Unusual,
Very
right? These your mom's girlfriends.
Right. Even though one of them knew my father very well. My Aunt Shirley.
Okay.
She knew my dad very well because they all grew up in the same hood downtown.
Okay.
So
so your dad's from downtown too?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
My mom and dad both
Okay.
from downtown.
Okay.
And they knew each other, so even though he knew one of them, the ones whose house I was over, that was like, well, what are you doing
Instant
here? Like,
red flag. Like, what's
yeah,
my
like,
dad
wait a
doing
minute.
here? Right.
Am I about to get a beating? wait, what did I do?
Right.
And he was there to pick me up, and he told me, then you're going to come live with me.
Wow. So you didn't even really get a chance to say goodbye to your mom?
Not until, he did allow me to call her.
Okay.
He did allow me to call her and let her know that I was going to be with him. And, I was crying and I don't want to go. But I think at the end of the day, my mom knew it was best for me.
Well, was she available to you? Like every time you called her, she was there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she wasn't like one of the bad, like we hear about parents who, I don't even know
No.
what my mom was.
No.
She was always home.
She was definitely always home.
Okay. You ultimately became a parent.
Yes.
How many beautiful blessings do you have?
Just one.
Just one.
Just
Okay.
one.
How old?
She's 17. She'll actually be turning 18 on the 20th of May.
Wow. So you got an 18-year-old daughter.
Yeah. Man.
You had her when you were
23.
Okay. So she's, according to the law, about to be an adult. Let me ask you this question. You know how your parents raised you because you were there. What would you say are some similarities and differences between your parenting style and your parents' parenting styles?
I'm not as strict as my father on certain things, except the only thing I'm very adamant on with her is school.
Okay.
As long as I told her a long time ago, as long as you do good in school, you can get anything you want from me.
Define doing good. If she came home with all C's, would you be mad?
Yes.
Okay.
Only because I know she could do better.
Okay.
Now, if she came home with all C's and she was doing her hardest
Her absolute best?
and putting forth effort, I couldn't be mad at that at all.
Okay.
But if I know she can do better, it's gonna be trouble.
Okay. So you want her to at least a 3.0.
Whatever that I know she's capable of,
Okay.
do your best to fit that.
Got it. So you take school seriously like your parents did?
Yes.
Okay. So that, and you're not as strict as your dad was.
No.
Define. Like what was your dad on you about that you're not really on her about? Example.
Well, mainly, like I may talk stern to her
Okay.
if she messes up in school or anything, but
Okay.
I'm not going. I can to this day say I have never had to beat my daughter
Okay. Ever. Compared to hundreds of beatings.
Ooh.
Right.
With a belt.
Right.
With a belt.
Right.
That's back. That's back in our day. You could beat kids with a belt. Nowadays, you're gonna get the cops called on you.
Right. What about your mom?
As far as parenting,
Similarities and differences.
I'm very, very just as my mom is very was very lenient on me because I was her first.
Okay.
I kind of got a soft spot for her because she's my first and only at this time. So
Okay. So she's super spoiled.
yeah, yeah. She can call me right now, and as long as her grades, I know her grades is good now. So,
Right.
Dad, can I have this? All right, cash app it to you, or when I get out of here, I'll bring it to you.
Can you see her? It's hard to speak for other people, but can you see her growing up in your era and doing well?
No. This era of children are way too privileged.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second.
They
She doesn't know how to struggle.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. No. If she had to go through what I had to go through, like not being able to eat, well, not having meals available to you at all times, not having a DoorDash, stuff like that.
Right.
She'd go crazy.
These kids are heavily dependent on technology.
Oh,
that
yeah.
didn't exist in the 90s.
We didn't know. We barely even was on computers. I mean,
Internet was just starting in the
Right.
late 90s.
right. And I remember you and I were in, what was it, in Hatch Logo?
Yeah, right.
It was in a logo in a technology class, and we were like, for lack of a better term, we were considered like the nerds
Right.
because we were in the computers and things of that nature.
The smart kids, the top section.
Nowadays, everyone's a nerd,
Right.
and nerd, the word itself is cool.
Exactly.
That's a cool
Like
thing.
everybody embracing it. You get it on your shirt, says nerd. Got it. So speaking of school, do you remember all the schools you went to growing up?
Yes.
All right, let's go. Preschool, kindergarten, go.
Preschool, I'd say, St. John's. St. John's on Westfield Avenue.
St. Joseph.
St. Joseph.
St. Joseph.
St. Joseph. St.
Okay.
Joseph on Westfield Avenue.
Okay.
I got kicked out of there.
You remember why?
I kissed a white girl.
You got kicked out.
Got kicked out for kissing a white girl.
Okay.
The nuns were not happy about that. Called my mom, and actually my mom ended up cussing the nuns out because, like, why would you call me out of work?
For
Because,
this dumb little
Right.
kid.
like, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, did he forcibly kiss her? And I know I didn't.
Right,
I know
right.
it was like, a mutual thing. But yeah, I'm pretty sure her parents probably wasn't even happy about it.
Okay.
A little black boy kissing my white daughter.
Right.
Mm-mm. In the 80s?
Right.
Yeah, that wasn't going over too well.
Okay.
After St. Joseph's, I transferred to a school. Now that's the only one I don't remember.
I think
BPUM.
BPUM in North Camden.
In North Camden.
Okay.
Went there, and then from there, went to Bonsall,
Bonzo was what? What grades?
1st to 5th.
Okay. Where is Bonzo?
Bonsall was on Mount Ephraim Avenue, our Pollock.
Okay. So what was that experience like?
Bonsall was bittersweet.
Now let's talk about this for 1 second. You said you live downtown. You from downtown.
Yes.
But you go to school. You go to Bonzo.
Right.
How did that happen?
I went to Bonsall because my grandmother, my mom's mother, she taught at Bonsall.
Oh, your grandma was a teacher.
Yes.
Okay. What's her name?
Miriam Williams.
Shout out to Miss Miriam. Okay. Condolences. Sorry about that.
I lost her when I was about 8.
Okay.
She actually was my end all be all, like,
Before.
around the same time, like her and my mom, they was like neck and neck. I mean, it was mom, but then it was always like, all right, mom, grandma here, like,
Right.
my mom. Like my mom.
You know what it is.
Yeah, my mom made the best cream of wheat ever in life. To this day, there's nobody that can recreate or compete with my mom's cream of wheat. My mom's cream of wheat.
What flavors did she make?
Oh, it was only one flavor. Back then, there wasn't no flavor cream of wheat.
That's true.
It was just cream of wheat with butter, sugar, milk, and that was it.
And she killed it.
That was it. That's all I needed.
So how'd you get to school? You walk?
I guess I could say from like maybe 1st to 2nd, I would be taken to school by my grandfather,
Okay.
and he would drop me off, pick me up. Then once I became able to, walk by myself, I get dropped off, but I'll walk home.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
would get dropped off to school, but I'd end up walking home.
So you had no problems walking through, what, 2 neighborhoods?
Pollock, Centerville. Actually, Pollock and, I guess that is Centerville. The Ever Gardens area.
Right.
Yeah, Pollock, Ever Gardens. Yeah, no problems.
All love. Okay. So you graduated from Bonzel.
Graduated from Bonzel and went to Hatch, 6th to 8th.
Which is where?
On
Well,
Park Boulevard, out Parkside.
It's in Parkside.
Yes.
So you're living downtown when you go to school in Parkside?
No. When I changed from Bonzel to Hatch,
Right.
that's around the time I moved with my father.
Okay.
And I moved with him. He had just bought a house in Parkside on Park Boulevard in front of Forest Hill.
Right.
Right directly in front of Forest Hill.
Okay, so when you moved in with your dad, you moved to a new neighborhood from downtown to Parkside.
Yes.
So kids who met you in middle school probably thought you were from Parkside.
Pretty much, they just didn't know. I was almost absolutely unknown in Hatch because nobody that I'd known
Had
went to
ever
Hatch.
even seen you before. Got it. Okay. So what was that like? Was that a culture shock going from downtown to Parkside?
It was definitely different. I did run into, because Camden's not that big. So
Right.
I did run into maybe a few people that I knew from different areas of Camden. But for the most part, it was all about making new friends.
What was your middle school experience like?
Dope. I can say dope.
Okay.
And mainly because meeting people like you, other people that went to Hatch with us, it was mainly me making all new friends.
Okay.
And the experiences with those friends was pretty dope.
Thank you, by the way. All right. And you go to high school where?
Camden High.
Okay.
The High, baby.
Which is where?
On Park Boulevard as well, out Parkside.
Okay. And what was your high school experience like? Describe it.
Even better than Hatch, because now coming from Hatch and going to Camden High, it was basically like an upgrade. It was like, all right, you in the big leagues now. You was in little leagues in Hatch. Now you in the big leagues. You right up the street. Now you in the big leagues. Now you with all the big dogs.
Right.
And yeah, that was the era that it was in, from 94 to 98. One of the last great eras of Camden High, in my opinion.
Okay.
One of the last great eras of Camden High. You could still go to Hatton Avenue on your lunch break if you wanted to. Go to the trucks on the side of the school, the Panzerotti trucks.
Right.
You could sit on the ledge and eat your lunch. You could just powwow, and it was just a great era to be in Camden High.
Okay. Did you work in high school?
Yes.
Do you remember your first job?
Yes, Corinne's place, soul food restaurant in Parkside on Hatton Avenue.
Really? How'd you get it?
Miss Corinne was a friend of my family.
Okay.
Her and my grandfather, they had a thing
Back in the day.
and she always stayed cool with my family. She actually helped raise one of my aunts, and they had a very close relationship.
Okay.
And
Shout out to Miss Corinne.
Yes, shout out to Miss Corinne, because she definitely taught me a lot.
What did you do?
I was a busboy / waiter.
Okay. How long were you there?
I was with Miss Corinne for maybe 2 years.
Okay.
Maybe 2.5. Maybe about 2.5 years.
Okay. So you wound up graduating from Camden High?
Yes.
1998?
1998.
Okay. And your overall school experience, it seems like you like school.
Yeah, I did. I definitely I like school so much that when I would cut classes, I would never leave grounds, but that was because my father was a mailman, and there was no way I was getting beat in front of my friends in the middle of the street. So I would cut school and be in school cutting school.
Right. Some people cut school and they leave.
Yeah.
Right.
Not me.
Right.
No dude.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst ever and 10 being the best possible, how would you personally rate your childhood?
I'd say about a 7.
Okay. What would have needed to happen for you to have, say, 8 or 9?
Probably my mom not being on drugs and me having to live with my father and my stepmother.
Right, like being forced to live with your dad. It wasn't your choice.
Right.
Okay. And that story is wild because, like, even still thinking about it, like, were your clothes already packed in at your dad's house?
No, actually, he bought me an all new wardrobe.
So you never even went home to pack?
No.
No toys, no video games, nothing?
No. And actually, no, nothing at all.
Okay.
Just had to get up and go.
Got it. So yeah, that was an early life lesson for you. Like things can be taken away in an instant. Sometimes when we have no control over it.
Yeah.
And to learn that as a kid, it could be traumatic depending on the type of child you are.
Right. And actually, like I said, it was bittersweet because although I went over there, I didn't have any clothes. It was like almost like what movie was that? I can't remember the movie, but the kid was like enamored because they in a department store they're getting all new stuff. I think it was like Orphan Annie or something like that.
Okay.
My dad took me, and even though now Foreman Mills is like, oh, you go to Foreman Mills, but back then it was like, whoa, I'm going to Foreman Mills, J.C. Penney.
Right. I'm
getting new jeans, and I'm gonna be fresh and hatched. Like,
Right.
you ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing.
Right.
No holes in my clothes. I'm feeling good.
Right. Okay. Do you have a worst childhood day that you would like, or time period that you would like to forever forget?
The worst childhood day is the day I moved.
Probably the day that you moved. That was a shock for you.
Actually, no. I'm sorry. The worst childhood day for me would have been when my grandmother passed.
Sorry to hear. Oh, the teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
That was the worst childhood day for me.
Okay. Do you remember what happened?
She had a heart attack, I believe.
Okay.
She had a heart attack.
And how did you find out?
I don't remember finding out that she had a heart attack. I just remember finding out that she was in the hospital. And they brought me up to the hospital with them.
Where were you? Like in school, at home?
I was home.
You were home?
I was home.
Okay.
We all went up to the hospital, and by the time we had arrived at the hospital, she had already passed.
Oh.
And I remember trying to go back to see her, but my mom and them wouldn't let me go back to see her, and I just was like, I lost it.
It was the first time you ever lost somebody close to you?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like that affected you going forward?
Not majorly, but it's always been it's always been in the back of my mind.
Okay.
It's always been and it's an experience I'll never forget.
Okay, got it. Let's flip it. Do you have a favorite childhood day or time period that you would like to go back to if you could?
The times that I spent with my father's mother,
Okay.
my grandmother, she lived in Lindenwold.
What was her name?
Janice.
Okay, shout out to Miss Janice.
She lived in Lindenwold, and the times going
Lindenwold, New Jersey.
Lindenwold, New Jersey.
How far is Lindenwold from Camden?
I'll say about maybe a 20 to 30 minute, 20 minute drive. 20 minute drive.
Okay. She lived in Lindenwold.
Just the times going with her, because anytime I was with her, we were always traveling. She'd take me to North Carolina, South Carolina. I'm talking about from 2 to about 13.
Okay.
She was always taking me somewhere during the summer. And it was always a great experience. I still remember when I was 2 how I lost my tooth in South Carolina with my grandma because I was coming down a slide face first, and it was like, I guess, a rock in the sand or something hit my mouth, and
You remember that?
yeah, I remember that.
But you knew in the summer it was on at Grandma's house.
Guaranteed.
Okay. And you also said like around the time, a sweet spot when you were like 7 years old, where you had both sets of grandparents,
Right.
on both sides, and you were the oldest and really the only.
The only, yes. Yes.
Right. So that seemed like a lot of love and a lot of getting spoiled.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is there anything in your childhood that occurred that you feel affected your life forever, negatively or positively? And you might have just mentioned it, like when your grandma passed away.
Yeah, that there's many things in my childhood that occurred that affected my life differently.
Okay.
My mom being on drugs, it affected me positively and negatively.
How so?
I'll say positively because it basically taught me humility and how to cope with a lot of different things, and how not to judge other people's situations.
Okay.
That I didn't grasp until I became an adult
Okay.
and more mature. Because, as a kid, you're in school, you laugh at people that's, doing worse off than you. You make jokes about them, grind them up, whatever. It happens. But
Right.
once you become older and you see somebody in a similar predicament to what you were when you were younger,
Right.
it's an eye opener. Like, damn, give them a helping hand, or like try to be nice to them, or you never know what their day could consist of, or what their night before seeing you could have consisted of.
Exactly. We don't think about that growing up as kids.
Not at
You
all.
don't know what that kid went through, even before they just got to school.
Right.
The chick that always had an attitude every day. You don't know who was touching her or what she went through with her mom. We don't know.
Right.
We just know she always had a nasty attitude every day. Or this student was always asleep in class. You never think about the things that could be happening at home while they didn't get any sleep last night.
As a kid, it doesn't cross. Number one, not only does it not cross your mind, you have no care in the world.
Right. It's funny,
as
but
kids,
it's not
we are
funny.
like the most abrasive, uncaring,
Ruthless,
individuals ever.
Especially in middle school.
Oh man.
So that time period from 13 to 11
11
to
about
14,
yeah.
Kids are at their meanest.
Raw, straight raw.
Meanest. Well, you might go home and have nothing to eat. But if you could pick somebody else apart in class and be on top of all the jokes, then
And that's what I was just about to point out. Mind you, in that era, your mama jokes was like just, oh man, it was like, and you had to I remember being at home trying to think of the hardest thing to say, like,
Right.
ooh, I'm gonna hit him with this, like, ooh,
your mom's so dumb. Your mom's so ugly.
your family's so poor, like,
Right.
and that could really hurt somebody's like core heart, like, wow, like he really
And it's
said-
true. You know how many fights jumped off because of cracking?
yeah,
A lot. Something triggered somebody and they
you hit that chord, like, ooh,
exactly.
oh, you
We seen
went
it
too far.
happen.
Yeah.
Like
Firsthand.
90% of the time, it was all jokes, and you could laugh it off unless you was getting smashed by an experienced crack artist. But it was that 10%.
Ooh, man.
It went down. It's like, yo, what you just said about my mom?
And in your mind, you're like, and it's true too. He must have seen something.
Right. Question. So, what is your overall perception of how your childhood affected your life? Like, who is the Keenan of today? Who is the man that you became? And with everything that you do now and who you became, like, do you feel like overall your childhood molded you into this person?
My childhood definitely molded me into who I am today. Like I said before, if it wasn't for my childhood, the bad and the goods,
Right.
I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the humility. I wouldn't have the morals, the ethics.
What did you do? What did you wind up doing?
Well, as of right now, I'm a 40-year-old veteran of the United States Army.
Really? You joined the Army
Yes.
right after high school?
No, I didn't go into the Army until after I lost my academic scholarship to college.
Okay. Where was that to?
Kean University.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
majoring.
How long were you there?
Maybe 2 years.
Okay.
I did maybe 2 years at the most.
Okay.
I majored in computer science.
Okay.
I got an academic scholarship for computer science.
Really?
Full ride.
And you blew that?
I blew it partying.
Party. You was partying too hard.
My dad was so strict on me in high school.
Right.
Once I got freedom, just a taste of freedom.
And that's so many freshmen that are not able to make that transition. They get that first taste of alcohol. Parents getting called, come get your kid. You like, I didn't know my kid drank. I didn't know my kid smoked. They didn't. Until they got to
here.
college. Right.
I got to college, got that taste of freedom, and it was basically like, oh, this is it. Not only the taste of freedom, but the other part of that was I was still treating college as high school. Like, I went there and scheduled all my classes, well, most of my classes for like 8 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock in the morning, not knowing that I'm going to end up be drinking and partying all night long.
Right.
Till 2, 3 in the morning, and I'm definitely going to sleep through the alarm, even if I don't sleep through the alarm. I'm not going to go to class.
And you're not in the right frame of mind to be in class. Like,
even when I would get my stuff together and be like, all right, you know what, I'm going to buckle down,
right.
go to class. Oh, it's a sunny day. 7 degrees. Everybody in the quad. Nobody's going to class. It's events going on. Like, whoa, you know what? I can miss class today.
Right. And that's crazy that you kind of need somebody to prepare you for that, for what college is going to be.
Yes.
Like, time management is critical, right? Like, these are the things, like, you need somebody. When you get thrown to the wolves like that, and you come from the type of household you came from, is a different experience if you're not used to it. And while you're trying to get used to the social aspect of it, you fall behind, and once you fall behind, it's a wrap. There's almost no catching up.
Yeah.
So you either got to drop that class and take it over, or like you did, eventually it just snowballed.
And it was also the fact that, just like how with Hatch, I came there, I didn't know anybody or anything, went to Kean, it was even more, okay, I don't know anybody. There were 2 people, maybe a little bit more, maybe a handful of people that were from Camden that actually went to Kean.
Okay.
Alonzo Somerville,
Okay.
he went to...
Shout out to Lonzo.
He went to the high with us, and he went to Bonzo with me.
Okay.
Kalea Scott.
Okay. Shout out to Kalea.
She went there, and there were maybe 3 or 4 older people that graduated before us.
Okay.
That were already
Whose
there.
faces you recognize?
Maya Bumpers,
Okay.
I believe her last name was Maya Bumpers. Kelly Brown.
Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Maya.
And I believe that was it. That went to Kean before I had got there.
That you knew of.
That I knew of.
Right. Okay.
And just going there and not knowing anybody, not knowing a lot of people.
Right.
Making all new friends, and it was basically it's not like in high school where you would have to like actually be a cool kid or a nerd and you have to fit in.
You just be yourself.
You can just be yourself.
No matter who you are, when you get to college, it's going to be 100 people just like you.
Guaranteed.
No matter who you are.
Guaranteed. So
Yeah.
I got up there, and once I became the life of Kean.
Right.
I became the man on campus. It was to the point, if you went to Kean anywhere from fall of 98 to fall of like 2001,
Okay.
there's absolutely no way that you didn't know my name. Or you didn't know who I was.
So what ultimately happened? Did you get pulled into the guidance office?
Oh no, I went on academic probation after my first year.
Okay.
And then
You didn't pull your grades up.
never pulled my grades up, lost the scholarship, and my answer to losing my scholarship was, oh well, let me go into the military so they can pay for college.
How'd you do? How'd you do in the military?
I did okay in the military.
The military is all about discipline.
Right.
So but
you're
used to that.
In high
That
school,
was back to what you used to.
right.
Okay.
And in high school I was in JROTC, so
Okay.
it was in the same
You were familiar
vein.
with it.
I was very familiar with it. It wasn't that hard of a transition,
Okay.
but there was still a partying aspect in me. So once I did get out of basic training in AIT and was in reserves and going back to school,
Okay.
I was still in party mode,
Got it.
which was even worse because now I'm in party mode with a little bit of cash in my pocket.
Right. Right.
I wasn't a broke college student anymore. I'm a reservist
Did you travel
as far as
like all over the world? Like
yes, I once I joined the regular army, because I went from the reserves to the National Guard
Okay.
to the regular army.
Okay.
Once I got to the regular army, I was stationed in Germany.
Really? Where? Berlin?
Schweinfurt.
Schweinfurt. Okay.
The city of pigs, city of flying pigs.
Okay.
I was stationed in Schweinfurt. Once I got to Schweinfurt in Germany in 2003, August of 2003, I was told I was getting deployed to Iraq for all of 2004.
Okay.
Went to Iraq for 2004. Went to Kuwait the beginning of 2004.
How was that experience?
Kuwait or Iraq?
Or in Germany, like all three of them. So how, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the best and 1 being the worst, how was Germany?
5.
5.
Germany was a dream come true to the party goer in me. It was a dream come true. It was like, all right, you don't even have to go to class. Just make sure you go to work.
Right.
And go home, and you can just party as much as you want.
So you told the Army y'all messed up sending me here.
What?
Of all people?
Oh man, listen. When you could in Germany,
Beautiful
or in Europe,
women?
you can drink.
Beautiful women?
Oh my God. Oh, it was just such a it was a plethora of women. You have Germans, you have Turkish, you have Swedish, you have Africans, you have half Africans, half Turkish, half German. It's just so it's a
And the other girls from America who were there with you.
Oh well.
You're like,
Once you've been,
Right.
you've been with Americans so much, and like most of the American girls, they want to like cuff you, and they want you to be in a relationship. The German girls are just like,
because they knew what it was. They know y'all here for 6 months and y'all out.
and then not only that, the icing on the cake is being an African American from the hood in Germany.
Right.
That's basically being a magnet to all European women,
Instant superstar.
guaranteed.
Just like in South Jersey. Like when you go other places in South Jersey outside of Camden and they know you from Camden, you're an instant star. Until proven otherwise, you're an instant star.
You could in Germany, you could be like, for lack of a better use of words, you could be from like Lindenwold, fake. You know how the Lindenwold guys
Right.
back in the day used to fake like they was from Camden, like,
Right.
oh, I'm from Camden, I'm hood, this and that. You could be that guy in Germany, and you got the do-rag with the headband on, with the fitted cap, and all the accessories to be like this super hood guy, and get buku women.
Get away with it.
But then they see a guy that's actually from the hood,
Right.
that don't need all that, but they can tell like, oh no. Yeah, he done lived a hard life for real. They
Right.
notice that, and you get even more women.
Okay.
It's bananas.
So you go from Germany to where?
from Germany to to Kuwait.
All right, so you go to Kuwait, 1 to 5.
Kuwait was, I'd say, about like a 3.
3. Okay, so it was a downgrade from Germany.
Oh yeah, because it was less developed. We were living in tents. We didn't have working water systems, so the showers were like there was 2 different modes of the shower. It was either ice cold or scalding hot.
Okay.
Because what it was in Kuwait and in Iraq, the water system they had for the showers, because they were basically being built up.
Okay.
It was basically a big tank of water just sitting outside, and that's how you got the shower and the toilets and everything working. Now, that big tank, if it's sitting outside in 130-degree weather
Right.
all day long, and you go to take a shower, all of that water is hot. There's no such thing as like, all right, I'm going to turn the cold on a little bit, and then the hot, and it's going, no. The cold is just as hot as the hot.
Got it.
And vice versa. If you go to take a shower first thing in the morning, and that tank's been sitting out there, because desert weather is so extreme.
Okay.
In the daytime, it's extremely hot. At nighttime, it can get extremely cold. It might go from 130 to like 50.
Really?
And it's like, whoa, like, I got to really bundle up. Now, that tank is sitting out there in that 50-degree weather all night long. You go take a shower for PT, because you get up about maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, go take a shower.
What's PT?
Physical training.
Physical training.
Physical
That's every day?
Every day.
Okay.
Every day. And it depends on what unit you're in, whether you do it in the morning, afternoon, after work or whatever.
Okay.
But mainly, you end up doing your PT in the morning. First thing in the morning.
Quick question. How was the food in Germany?
On base, it was just basically cafeteria food.
Okay.
But once you left base,
Right. The actual authentic German food.
it's very heavily pork based.
Really? Oh yeah, like bratwurst and
Right. For me being a Muslim, it was kind of like, oh God.
got you.
Especially being as though if you don't know German,
Right.
and if you can't read German,
Right.
you're definitely ordering like
Right. You taking a guess.
unless they have pictures or they once you get to Germany, they teach you German.
Okay.
put you through a German class so you can know. So certain things you get a good idea of. Like I don't remember the word for pork. Well, swine.
Right.
And you get to know certain things, or you get to know to ask certain things.
Okay.
Because like going to a McDonald's off base, whereas a McDonald's in the States, you can get a quarter pounder, Big Mac or whatever, and you know it's all beef patties. In Germany, only the Big Mac is all beef patties. The quarter pounder is beef and pork mixed in a patty.
Interesting.
And also, McDonald's sell beer.
In Germany.
McDonald's, Burger King, fast food restaurants, period, they all sell beer.
Interesting. All right, so you go to a Middle Eastern Islamic country. So
Right.
now you're in Kuwait. What was that food like?
Well, we weren't really allowed to go off base for food
Okay, got
in
it.
Kuwait and Iraq,
Okay.
but we would have some of the Iraqis or Kuwaitis come on base and they would cook. And their food was actually, it was good. It was basically like a home cooked meal,
Okay.
but kind of different. Like their beef patties would have like egg in it,
Okay.
or their chicken, not even patties, like basically like burgers, homemade burgers
Right.
would have egg and onion mixed in it,
Okay.
and they would basically have French fries, but whatever potatoes they were using, it wasn't the same potatoes that we're used to, so
Right.
it was kind of a different texture,
Okay.
but it was still good.
So Iraq, 1 to 5.
I'll say a 3 as well.
Okay. Okay. Now.
Max, I'm gonna take it down to a 2 because I have to add in the factor of being scared for my life 24/7.
It's not funny. I'm sorry for laughing.
I mean, no, but yeah, I was scared for my life 24/7.
The Iraqis did not like Americans.
No, not
They don't want you there. Yeah, I get it. We get it.
It's more than that though, because going on a mission, you go through so many different villages and going on a mission on a road.
Okay.
Whereas in one village, you might be riding through, and the Americans that may have been there previously before you may have been good to them.
Okay.
So they're happy to see you. They're waving and everything.
Right.
Whereas in the very next village, they may have been treated poorly by Americans.
Right.
So you get people throwing the fingers. Other people, they're looking like you don't know if they're going to try to shoot.
Okay.
They might try to throw bricks.
Okay.
They might try anything.
Okay.
Anything is bound to happen. So you have to be on the lookout. Even in the villages that were happy to see him, you still have to be alert and aware because there could be a wolf in sheep's clothing.
That ties back to what we were talking about in school, in the hood. You
Yeah.
never know what somebody has went through
Right.
that morning or the night before or
Right.
every day.
Right.
That's interesting. So would you consider your personal opinion, because we said, even though the government says that you're an adult at 18, we're still kids.
Right.
Would you consider your military experience part of your childhood, or do you feel like you grew up
No, I was definitely
an adult?
an adult. Well, my Germany and Iraq, my regular army experience, I was an adult.
Okay.
Going into reserves and the National Guard, I would consider that still kind of like
The end of the childhood.
the very end of the childhood.
Okay. With that being said, final task. Give some advice to blank-year-old you. So knowing everything that you know now, being all over the world, being from smack in the middle of the hood, like growing up in a super strict household, growing up in a pretty lax household, you experienced kind of the best of both worlds. With everything that you learned, the person you are today, and everything that you know now, if you could talk to a younger version of you, a younger Keenan, how old would he be, and what advice would you give him?
The advice I would give, it would have to be to 18-year-old Keenan.
18-year-old Keenan. What would you say to him?
Fuck partying. Focus. Get through college. Don't worry about don't ever go into the military. Even though I love the military experience, don't ever go into the military.
Why not, by the way?
As, I'm kind of anti-government, so it's like I don't want to, like, I was basically a puppet.
Okay.
I was basically a body being used. I turned into their property. Also, strap up. Strap up for sure, strap up. Because 23-year-old me was not ready for a child.
Okay.
Strap up, stay focused. Travel as much as possible. I would have liked to have traveled a lot more than I have already.
Keenan, thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you. What? Kids never forget?
Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget. Kids don't forget. I appreciate you, bro.